Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler. And once again, I'm going to just take a little bit of a victory lap here, being, that I was correct. I made the right call. I may have got the timing wrong, but I was on the right direction. Of course, I am talking about tariffs between Canada and the United States. I said before the election, before even Carney was dropped in to be prime minister, I said there will be a deal. Nobody understands how reliant the Canadian economy is on the United States until you start doing basic research and basic arithmetic. It is, once you disregard government part of GDP, all right? You get rid of that, that's about half gone, all right? What's left, half of that is trade with the United States. So a quarter of Canada's annual GDP is trade with the United States. Half of Canada's real GDP from the private sector, the only part that really should be counted in GDP, excuse me there, is based on trade with the United States. Of course, Canada was going to make a deal. It didn't matter who won the election. It didn't matter if Justin Trudeau was prime minister or not. Whoever was going to come in was going to negotiate a deal. Everything they used was a bunch of kayfabe bullshit in an attempt to buy an election or fearmonger an election. Okay? To the conservative CPCers out there here in Canada who thought, oh no, they're totally gonna ruin the country because they're saying we have to well, fuck, what was it? What were they saying again? The elbows. They're saying elbows up. Buy Canadian. We're gonna cut the electricity off to America. We're not gonna sell stuff to America. We're gonna sell stuff to China and Europe. And no, they fucking weren't. If you had any basic understanding, or if you were fucking honest with yourself, you would understand the situation the global economy is in. Under no circumstances was Europe ever going to pick up that $600 to $700 billion slack in the Canadian economy if it went down with America. That was never going to happen. Just never gonna fucking happen. China couldn't have picked up the tab. As I have been saying now for over a year, I believe it's over a year, China is basically a fucking threat to nobody. Their internal politics and internal problems are so much greater than anywhere in the world. Okay? If you want good information, go on Friday, watch The China Show. It's by two guys who spent years in China. I think it's like 2 or 3 decades between both of them. They have a intimate and high understanding of the language, the culture, and the country. They go through the great Chinese firewall and are able to see and give you information of what's going on. There's basically no province in China this year that hasn't had a major factory sabotaged in some way, shape, or form. And it almost always comes back to a dollar liquidity shortage that China's been going through now for over 5 years. When they started selling U.S. treasuries in 2018 or something like that is when they started selling. You can go check the how they were rolling off treasuries and bonds, if you want. But like it's right around then when they were started, and the Chinese economy has been going down the shitter ever since. There is a positive correlation between access to U.S. bonds in any shape or form and the strength of your economy. But what I'm getting at is China's basically on fire internally. Xi is fighting off multiple attempts at what you can consider a coup. They are attempting to replace him, and it's not even being done in the shadows anymore. Like, the party is basically done with Xi. They're just trying to remove him, and he's in a desperate battle to stay in power. The If you've been watching Snyder, you know every single bailout and economic stimulus and or whatever you want to call it that the Chinese have tried in the last couple years is failing, and the country's going down the shitter economically. All right? The only way that China would be a threat if someone was stupid enough to attack them first. Then you get a similar thing of what's happening, or what will likely happen in Iran, which is a rally around the flag. It probably will be temporary. Not in China, because people are brainwashed to a higher degree than the Iranians ever were. And then you've got a problem. Barring that, like, and the partisan terrorist actions that the Chinese government is attempting to do. Remember the not one but two back to back in the University of Michigan, Chinese so-called students being caught with what you have to consider are bioweapons. All right, they may just be like viruses or bacterium or something like that, but they specifically attack wheat, and they were in labs that are not regulated and rated for that level. Like you're talking, I think, a level 4 or higher biolab, and those labs were nowhere near that. So yes, that is an overt act of terrorism in my mind. Especially when you're dealing with a strain that kills wheat that is not native to North America. It would destroy wheat crops across North America within a matter of months. Right in time for harvest. But besides the point, what I'm getting at is the deal was always going to take place. It was a matter of time. You know, is Carney betraying his constituents that voted on, oh, Orange Man bad, Orange Man bad? Absolutely. Do I fucking care? Not really. Like, because the people who are running the Liberal Party and are backing the Liberal Party, from the shadows, and are the front-facing end of the Liberal Party, the politicians, they all don't give a flying fuck about internal consistency, hypocrisy, ethics, morals. They don't give a fuck about any of that shit. All they give a shit about is power. And that was a play for power. Plain and simple. And Canadians fell for it. Hell, the right in Canada fell for it. They thought there was never going to be a deal if Carney won. Like, give your fucking heads a shake. It was always a ploy to get elected. Energize the base, change the narrative of the election from the carbon tax and liberals bad to Orange Man bad, and you can win. And Pierre and his team should be fucking ashamed that they didn't see something like that coming from a mile away. Their jobs is to see shit like that and counter it before it ever happens. And they walked in, and it's mostly because they were never going to, you know, like they were trying to win, but they were not trying to win, say, like Donald Trump tries to win, where he actually puts in the effort and makes sure that it's too big to rig by going out to multiple different voter blocks and, taking 5, 10, 20, 30% here and there and building a coalition that wins the popular vote by 2 points on election night. Like, Pierre was never going to do that. The Conservatives don't know how to do that, and they don't want to. Like, the Conservative power apparatus in Canada, at its heart, really doesn't want to win, as I said in the other video, because a whole bunch of reasons. But basically, they'd have to do stuff and have to, they'd be taking all the heat, and they don't want that. They'd rather be the fucking Maple Leafs of politics, where they get paid to not perform. If you don't understand that reference, go look at how much money the Toronto Maple Leafs make yearly in revenue. It's ridiculous, and have for decades now. Like, they literally get paid to underperform. It's ridiculous. Anyways, this trade deal is obviously going to be in the favor of America. Okay? Is it going to benefit Canada? Yeah. Is it going to do anything relatively soon, like, say, within the next 18 months? Probably not. And I say that, again, because just look at any global macroeconomic factors that are happening in the last just 6 months. We don't even have to go back 2 or 3 years. Just 6 months. There's nothing positive happening. Like, I'm almost convinced, all right, that next year the what are they called? The NBMR or whatever they're called. They're the agency in the United States that officially declares a recession. I'm convinced they'll come out next year and say, "Oh yeah, we totally entered a recession at this time," like they did in 2009, about 2008. Like, I'm almost entirely convinced that's going to happen. I may get the timing wrong, and it'll be 2027 for 2026, but like, the writing's on the wall. Global liquidity is just hit an all-time low yet again, or almost is hitting an all-time low from what's detectable. Like, I could go on and on and on and make this video like 3 hours long about shit that's going wrong in global macro that is going to affect the micro of every country on Earth. But all you really gotta know is, if we're not in a recession officially yet, we are in such a recessionary environment that banks aren't going to loan out the money to the real economy until, like, they hit past rock bottom. Like, once we bottom out, they'll start lending, and you can see growth again. But until then, it's too risky for them. But, like, the one thing in this deal, people are saying it's an attack on Canadian sovereignty. I'm not entirely sure. Okay? What's come out is there's apparently being negotiated a clause that would say the United States has the right of first refusal on, I think, I can't remember if it's if what they say was generally all resources from Canada, or minerals, or like it's specified in any way. I think it was out there just to fearmonger, but let's even if that's true and it's all resources, I don't think that's an attack on our sovereignty per se. Um, it just allows a, a how would we put it, stitching together Canada and America in a more united way than before. Which, is it bad for sovereignty? Possibly. Like, you are tying your hitch to America. But Canada was already in that place, 50 years ago when we refused to robustly build out our own economy and do our own thing. Actually, you know what? It's older than 50 years because you can go to really the Avro. When that fell apart, or not the Avro, the Arrow by Avro, when that fell apart, that was really an attack on Canadian sovereignty. What this can allow us to do is build back our resource extraction sector, and we have a reliable partner to sell to where we don't have to really worry about it. Because America's going to need the resources we have. What Alberta has, what Ontario has, what every province has something America needs. All right, like the silver that is up in them hills in Montreal and a little bit in Ontario. There's 75 pounds or so of silver in a warhead. America likes warheads. They kind of need a lot of silver. You've got, nickel is extremely useful because if you have to make certain copper parts, you need to eventually make them nickel plated. There's other uses for nickel other than plating. What else? I want to say there's platinum and palladium. Those are the two that are found together in, I can't remember where. There's lithium, there's oil, natural gas, uranium. Like, Canada's got it all. And America has that stuff too. But again, they need more than what they've got. Especially if they want to bring back production to the United States and have secure supply lines. You need more than just China and Africa, where most of that shit comes from. Oh, obviously there's copper too. Just never forget the copper. Super important mineral or metal. Like, why would you, and I say this mostly in the most mean-spirited way, why would Canada want to sell anywhere else? Like, do you want to sell to Europe to get money from Europe? Yeah, sure. Do you want to tie yourself to Europe? No. Have you seen the state of Europe? Fuck that. They're more authoritarian than we here are in Ontario. All right? Van der Leyen has been trying to build an EU army, all right? So an army that would be controlled by a bunch of unelected council members that make up the back end of, and who really runs the EU. That would be used for whatever globalist bullshit the EU comes up with, and you want to attach your economy and your country to them. Look at the differences just on philosophy, all right, between America and EU. Obviously, you have multiple different philosophies in both regions that I'm talking about, all right? But if you look at the two prevalent ones in, say, North America and the one prevalent one in Europe, you have populism in America right now under threat, but it's there, it's alive, it's thriving. And then you have authoritarianism coming from both the left and the right that is just stupidly insane, right? And then in Europe, you have the birthplace of the World Economic Forum and all that bullshit that flows from that. Who do you want to attach yourself to? The one that's having the struggle between the two opposing forces, or the one who's already lost? Like, who would you rather sell to? Like, who could Canada sell to at a profit? Could we sell liquefied natural gas to Europe? Absolutely. Should we? Absolutely. Do you want that to tie you permanently to Europe? No. I'd rather be tied economically to the United States. Like, there's no other country on earth I would rather be tied to economically for, like, national security reasons. Why would we want to be hostile towards America? All right? America's been very, very good to Canada. All right? We've taken advantage of them for decades. I think we can pay them back a little bit. All right? Like, until it at least feels even, and then we renegotiate the terms. All right? Like, basically for let's say at least 40 years, Canada's kind of been the parasite to America. But anyways, this deal is supposed to go through in the next 30 days. We'll see what happens. Of course, Carney's going to do everything he can, as you can see by the multiple bills he's putting through that would allow him to just get shit done. Again, these bills don't have to go through whatsoever. Like, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms has Section 1 and Section 33 that allows a government to do whatever the fuck they want. Specifically Section 1. But Section 33, there's a limiter on it for no more than 5 years. But then you can re-up it after the 5 years, or even before the 5 years. Just do a new thing that's the exact same old thing, but it's new, so the clock goes back to 0. It's not fucking hard. Like, people are freaking out about Bill C-5 that will allow the government to just ram through projects. Again, this is just giving legislation the cover of what they could already do. Like, it's a veneer of democracy over the authoritarian nature of the Canadian government structure. All right? If anybody had the balls as a premier or as prime minister, they could get almost everything done in a year if, they had enough people, because Section 33 exists. You just say, boom, sign a little order, it gets done. Section 33, motherfucker. It's that simple. Like, the fact that they're doing legislation is PR. It's just a PR spin. Oh, see, we went through the regulatory hurdles, man. We're totally a democracy. Meanwhile, in the background, Section 1 and Section 33 exist. And basically, even before you get to that, the power behind the office of the Prime Minister or Premier, all right, allows you to apply enough political pressure, if you know what the fuck you're doing, okay? You can get stuff done. It's not hard. Okay? Just because people don't know how to use the powers of government doesn't mean they don't exist. Anyway, that should do it for today. Tomorrow I have no idea what I want to talk about. I think Friday, instead of a traditional white pill video that I typically do on Fridays, I might just rip into fucking Trump for how fucking stupid he is, and the fact that he gets played like a chump by the people he should never have around him. I think that's what I want to do, because, like, it's one of those thoughts in my mind that is just living there rent free. So I really need to get it off my chest. So unless there's some big, awesome white pill news, which what I'm reading right now, that's on my screen, is RFK Jr. is going through how does he crack down on big pharma ads on mainstream media without having the massive lawsuits that it could cause. What can he actually do? And that's perfectly, that is fantastic news, because that means if he can get that through, that is the death of mainstream media. Pharma ads are the only thing at this point propping them up. If they don't get that money, they're fucked. So, that's the little white pill for today. That may be the only white pill for this week. We'll see what happens. Until the next video, have a fantastic day. And I'll see you in that with whatever the fuck I'm going to work myself up about.